Hey guys, welcome. My name's Leah Cook. Can you guys hear me? Let's see if anybody. Oh, is anyone out there? I do apologize for any noise. I'm currently having my sink installed. My dad is in the warehouse. If anybody's here, can anyone out there? Whoa, we're bouncing around. All right. So my name's Leah Cook. I'm with Sandpaper and Wax Design, and we're gonna get started. This is a new one for me. Hi, Amy. Can you hear me? We're good. So I just want to start out before we even get started. Just super grateful. Um, Please share something that you're grateful for. Oh, hey, is it Charlotte from Denver, North Carolina? Oh, anybody in the Carolinas? I have been thinking about you guys, and I hope you all are okay. Scary stuff, those hurricanes. And so let's go ahead as we come into that season of Thanksgiving. Let's just be thankful. I just woke up this morning and I'm so thankful to be here and my parents and my children. And so and then walking into that Thanksgiving season today, we're going to do some placemats. Really easy. I can sew. I'm not really good at it and I don't really want to do it. It's very sedentary for me, so I have a hard time focusing. So today we're going to do no sew placemats. Hey from Venice, Brenda, and super easy. And what I have seen is I go to Target because I'm last minute. I'm looking for really pretty placemats for my Thanksgiving table. And I'm always disappointed about what I find. I always find like the wrong colors, doesn't work with my china. The design is meh. And so you can create your own. They're really cheap. I went to Pottery Barn. They were $50 a placemat and they were not even that fantastic. So you can make your own. You can make it a project with your kids. And have fun with this and let them design the kid placemats for Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. And so I thought, how fun would this be to teach a no-sew, super easy, really pretty finished piece. So here's a couple of different ones I've done. I'll put it up to you so you can see. And then I wanted to talk about this one. So I made the base for it, but I didn't mount it, which you could easily tack with like an adhesive tape or the heat bond that we're going to use today. But what I like is, this stuff doesn't wash all that great. So if you want to wash just this upper piece, you can stick it in, or hand wash them as well. And then put it right back on. And yeah, your placemat still looks fantastic and clean because in my house, my kids just destroy everything. So really fun, different styles that you can use. We use Amy Howard's stencils for these two specific ones. I used the, voila, I forget what yeah, Fallujah. Anyway, you could use these for spring. How pretty would these be? You can even do these for summer in just different colors, variations. All right. And then this one, we did the Farm Fresh, the green one with the Christmas, which I just thought was so precious. And you can cut them and use them in different ways. So we're gonna need stencils today. Today we're gonna be working with a product called Ultra Bond. I don't, like I said, I don't really sew, so this stuff's amazing. I'm like so amazed by this. So these are really cool. It's a big roll and it's adhesive. I mean, who knew? I'm sorry, it was like Christmas. I'm walking in on this place. You'll need some kind of marker for your fabric. I use this chalk pen is super awesome. It comes with different stuff. We'll be using Amy Howard's gel ink here today. For this demo, we are using, we're going to do the gold and can't never could combined with black, or which is like, what does that say? Can't never could is the black. Well, Swanee is the brown. So I do recommend if you're using these gel arts, I mix my colors, so I never really get that. I like to play with it. I don't want a true green. So if you want a muted green like this green here, I added just a tad of brown. And for the gold on this piece, I wanted a more bronzy looking gold. So again, brown. So you want to buy a variety of these colors so you can mix and really come up with a more customized color that will match your tablescape. And I also recommend the Amy's squeegee. I do forgive me. I have to take all my stuff home to wash it since they were installing my sink today. But her squeegee is by far the best. I'm going to show you why, because I'm going to use the junky one. Her squeegee has a rounded edge where you can easily spread the material to get into that stencil, and then you flip it around, or you don't even have to flip it. You just like turn your arm and you just scrape. It's the best thing. I'm going to buy at least, for me, I'll have to buy at least 6 because they'll be scattered throughout my office. So I recommend Amy's squeegee. It is by far the best. And yeah, it might be a couple dollars more than that $4 one at Target. But I kid you not, the first time you use it and you understand what that rounded edge is about, you're like, oh my gosh, this thing's amazing. So there. You will need an iron. We are going to need scissors, a way to measure. If you're not a seamstress, a ruler is cool, or a fabric ruler, a ironing board to iron. Don't iron on your tabletops, guys. We know we have to fix those tabletops. And then something to measure and cut your fabric on. You don't want to cut into your tables. Do have a heat gun if you want it. It's up to you, just to really kind of reinforce maybe perhaps the corners. But so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn this down. There's a couple of different ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the easiest way. Because if you're going to be making it for a table of 6 or a table of 8 or 10, or how many people you seat at your table, you want to be able to do it quick, but you want a beautiful product. So I'm going to show you a surefire way, but I'm going to show you a cheaper way, economical, if you decide to go into business, hey, making some placemats. Because honestly, the cost to make these, if you make a bunch of them, so cheap. And what you could turn around and sell them for at a market, how cute would these be at a market? Somebody doesn't have to run to Target to buy some ugly mats like me. So here we go, guys. First things first, we are going to talk about what size. You need to think about the size of your table. How big do your placemats need to be? Standard placemats are 18 inches in length, 12 inches in height. But really, you can customize and design whatever size you need for your table. If you have that one, a long farmhouse table or a harvest table, you can go bigger. If you want to do a runner, remember it's the length times 2. And then let's see. So yeah, but first we're going to start with that fabric before we get any further. So I used duck canvas for that green piece. I'm just going to pull it up real quick. So I used duck canvas for this. I had a lot of it on hand. I had a roll of it, so it was super easy to work with. I'm going to turn you down for a second. You don't have to look at me. So here we are. So what you're going to do if you're going to dye canvas, and tell you what not to do. You want to soak the material for at least, you want the fabric completely saturated before you start dyeing it with water. So you're going to stick this into the water. You're going to let it sit for a little bit, completely saturated. And then you don't have to rinse it out completely, because that's when you start to create all these crinkles. So, just let your fabric rest in there. Now you're going to create a bath. And for this, I used Cherbourg paint Amy Hauer One Step. It has an acrylic paints in it. So it's a nice full coverage pigment. So you're going to make a bath with paint and a little bit of just a little bit of water because your fabric's already going to be saturated. So it depends on how much you're making. And I would probably use I like a full pigment and I'm bad. So I'd probably use a half a cup. And then I would use about a quarter cup of the water and then just play around with that, see what it looks like. Let that fabric fully saturate, let it sit in there for a little bit. And then you're going to gently, not what I did, you're going to gently squeeze out that paint, put gloves on to do that. I don't have a water resource. Otherwise, I'd be showing you that process while they're doing the sink. But you're going to wear gloves because otherwise your hands will be dyed. You can put fabric softener in there, but I don't recommend it because I have a problem with the stencil when I was doing the fabric softener. So I did these without, and it seemed to do really well. So once you take it out, let it dry, let it air dry, and then you're going to wash it in cool temperature, same colors, so all your stuff together, and then you're going to put it in a low temp dryer. And yeah, it's going to come out ratty looking. So you're going to take your scissors, cut this all off, make sure you clean up the edges. And I don't want you to iron on steam with canvas because what happens is you burn the paint, you burn the canvas, and you end up with like these end up being permanent. So you want to take a lay your canvas down. You can put a damp towel under it or over it, and then you'll just with a warm iron, not on steam, like a nice. It's still hot, but not steaming, and you're gonna just press it. And it might take a little bit, but it's really worth it, and it'll be really pretty. This is a little more rustic looking, as you can see. I actually really like that. I know it's really pretty. So, but that's that. So I have one here that I have already ironed for us. I'm going to turn it all the way down. All right. So first, now that you've decided your place setting, so here we have 14 inches, just a little over 14 inches. Now, the first one doesn't have to be exact, but the rest of them have to match the first one. So you can have flaws in the first one. Are you happy with the measurements? Then that's your standard for the following placemats. So the first one, give yourself a little grace if you're not a sewer, if you're not used to, and I'm not used to this. This is something totally out of my element, and I'm so excited because I love new things that makes your brain work different. So I am going for a 18, and so we're a little bit longer here. So I got 18. Well, we'll have to be really careful with that edge. And this is 14. So we're going to bring this in a bit. And so while we do that, you can start marking. So you're going to, typically what I would recommend you guys to do, I don't know why I didn't measure these correctly. You want to at least see how the difference. So I might bring that in a little bit. Oh, that's what I did. You guys are going to laugh at me. So this is the guy. That's the guy that's going to be the overall dimension, the correct dimension. So don't worry about this. This is fun, easy, simple to do this one. But here, we'll start with this one. I know I'm all over the place today. Okay. Here, this is the base of that placemat. And see here, that's that perfect dimension. We're at 18 inches. Thank you for hanging with me. And thank you for your grace. And then this is 12. So that's exactly what I want it to be. And guys, this is a table runner roll from Michaels. And it's already cut to this size. And I believe I bought the economy size. So I think it was like 20 feet. So think about how many placemats, you don't even have to measure the edges on this. And so really all we're having to do is that back seam. Super simple, right? So that's what, this is the fastest way to do it. If you're in a hurry and you need to just get your placemats done, you're not trying to sell them perhaps. And Michael says coupons for like 20 to 30% off if you buy it online. You could easily knock out a ton of placemats with this. So cut, and then here we made a seam on the back of this fabric. So this is about just about a half an inch here. So when you make a seam, you're going to double that. So it would be a full inch. And when you measure it, you will measure, and I'm going to show you on the green just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So say you want your seam to come up an inch. So we'll just use big numbers. Say we want our seam to come up an inch, right? We need 2 inches then for that seam. So you would mark 2 inches here. You're going to come from the other side. We need 2 inches. So now we have this perfect little square. You're going to draw your square out with my hidden ruler. Where are you? There's too much going on here. All right, I'm just going to use this here. So we're going to draw a square here and then bring it down to this dimension here. And you see what I have? This is the stuff that trips me up when I'm not a seamstress. So where do you think that this cut will be for your angle to when you do your seams? I really want to drive this home because this is where I think people get lost and they get frustrated and they don't want to do it anymore. It's making that really nice edge. So here's the edge. You're going to cut at that triangle. Yeah. Because I was thinking I would cut here. Well, guess what? If you cut there, your seams aren't big enough. And then you're ending up with fabric in the center. So if that's the case, we're going to use that. Where is my ruler? Oh, it's all right. We'll get this out of the way. And use our fabric mat. That's all right. All good. Sorry. Here we go. So here our angle is from here to here. We're just checking all our angles. And here is where 1 and 1. So we're going to bring that all the way down. You could even use a straight edge if you can't, like me right now, find that. And we're cutting. Oh, no. That should actually be further out. 1, 2, 1, 2. Why did I do that? Sorry about that. So it should be from the 15 to the 18, making sure we have a 45-degree angle. Yeah, there we go. I know whoever sews is like, what the heck is she doing? I'm trying, guys. So that's what we're doing. And you know what? There's actually an even easier way if we're going to be super real about this. You can actually just fold the sides. If you really didn't want to do all that corner stuff, you really could just make a fold just like that. Okay. But here we're going to make a real angle. We're going to use our Ultra Bond. You're going to cut for your seam. Remember, you just got to get the first one right. And once you get the first one, it's smooth sailing because you're just kind of copying that template. So we're making our seam. All right, 1, 2. That's a 2-inch. So we're going to fold up to this point, and then it will fold into that point. And you see how we have a really perfect edge at this point. And then we'll put our Ultra Bond underneath and put that in there. This stuff's so easy. And you can do any kind of design with this, which is amazing. So cut that angle. You're going to take your iron, not on steam, nothing on steam for this project whatsoever. I'm just going to go over it. When you do iron the hemp or the jute, you really have to just kind of let it sit to get it to really melt into that fabric. Almost like an overkill. But for the canvas too, you really got to let it heat up. When you work with stuff like the muslin, it's a more delicate fabric, and so you don't have to be. You can actually use like just the regular hem, the seams, the seam mate instead. So it really just depends on what kind of fabric. I do recommend you use a hardy fabric. If you're going to use the muslin, you need to use a stiffen board in between to give the body, to give that placemat a little bit of body. I gotta put this under here so I don't hurt my table. And just heat this. All right. Good. And I recommend that you go ahead and do all the sides too while you're at it, and just get everything ready and prepped to go. All right. And so we're gonna just, and here's a simple way to do this too. If you've already done one side, just go ahead and cut, and you're happy with the dimensions of the overall cloth, then just go ahead, come here, and we're gonna cut right here. We'll come out, and we're gonna cut this here for our corner. And then fold it over onto the same side here. And you see we're making a nice even. So we're gonna come here, all the way across, all the way across. And we're gonna cut, do them all at the same time. And then here we go on this one. Great. Now you're gonna do all your heat bond on all sides. And you wanna make sure that you let this cool before you pull this off. If you pull this off too early, it's not gonna, it won't be sticky and it's not gonna adhere, and you'll have all kinds of bond problems. So super simple. And I found this Ultra Bond stuff at Walmart in the clearance aisle for $2.50. And this is heavy duty. You want to get the heavy duty stuff because it's good for heavy duty fabrics like denim or canvas, or you know, the jute. You want to get that. Now, you are doing all of this stuff, right? There are so many possibilities that you can make with this. Now, you've already purchased all this material, right? And you're like, oh, well, I just made placemats. Well, you can make purses. You can do, and they're so cute. You can make art with this. You can wrap a linen canvas with this. Make a canvas, like a canvas, and do a linen backing. And using these methods, let's see what else you could do. There's so many things you could do with this stuff. And then you've got these, Amy's got all these really cool stencils. So it doesn't even just have to be for the holidays. Like, how cute would a spring chinoiserie placemat be, you know, with a canvas background, with Amy's the Asian Palace, or I don't know which one that was, but really pretty, and do it like in a blue with white or stenciling, or so it kind of goes with those ginger jars. I mean, sky's the limit. And then once you start getting comfortable making these, you can pop them out, and there's so many already even cool fabrics out there. So, and you don't have to sew. Really, I mean, and it's washable. It's so crazy. I mean, I would love to learn, really would love to seriously learn if anybody wants to teach me. But, all right, so we're just gonna finish this up here. A little bit more, just eyeballing it. And, you know, if you miss a spot, that's fine. You could use the hot glue. What am I doing? Use hot glue to tack the corners, but you want to be really careful when you're doing the jute because it's an open weave. So try to find and what's awesome is that tablecloth is a tight weave. The table runner I used from Michael's is a tight cloth, tight jute weave. So you won't have the glue running through to the other side. It's a lot easier to handle that fabric. And it's so cheap, so easy. You only have to cut the top and the bottom edge on those to get the standard placemat size. So while that's going, let's go ahead and remove the ones we already did earlier. Look at, I know it's on there. I'm not forgetting. Okay. I really enjoyed peeling this. How fun was that? I was like, it's so cool. Okay. I'm a super nerd. All right, so here, look at this. So easy. You know, sometimes when that happens, I should have held the iron on a little bit longer, but like nice glossy finish on there, ready to go. All right, right-handed. And then this side, we'll take here. So easy, fantastic. And that's really too hot. So while that's going, we'll do the other side. We're going to start bringing up our, what do you call it? Our corners. Again, I'm going to use my tape measure. I'm going to check some edges. I kind of eyeballed all of this, which was fun stuff. But so we're going to come here. Let's see. Let's just do a hand seam. Hand seam. This is when I really miss my grandma. Oh my goodness. She could sew. All right. So how are we looking here? That corner looks okay. Remember, this is going to go on the back, so no one's going to see this unless you have an aunt that likes to inspect things. Okay. And so here we go. Take that off. And voila. Okay. We are ready to iron this on, and then we'll work on our stencil. I'll show you. I mean, this is so easy. It's almost silly. And we pay so much money for these things. All right. So we're just iron. Nice hot iron. No steam. Just let it sit for a sec. Oh, and so make sure you have some water and a rag, because if this Ultra Bond gets onto your expensive Ronita, Moana, whatever its name, iron, you want to get that off of there, because otherwise you're going to have to clean it when it's all dried off. So just be careful. Keep some water around, a nice wet rag. Plus, it'll also pull on that jute fabric. Once it gets on your iron, you keep ironing. It could be quite messy. Ask me how I know. So this is not the fun part to do with kids. Maybe not have your kids around while you're trying to figure out the first mat. But after that, you're good to go. Because then they can come and help you paint and participate. So without asking you for juice or a snack every 20 minutes or 20 seconds. All right. And then we're going to do this one. And so what I love is that you can pick your own colors and you can pick your own design. You know, you can embellish with lace. I had lace laying around from a previous project. I overdid that one. Ooh, that's dangerous. You want to really try to keep those corners so you have a nice edge. There we go. And you know what's neat about not actually putting a needle to it is you can it gives you a little bit more workability, because once you start threading it and sewing it, it's hard to fix it. You have to take it apart. Well, this is it's yes, it's adhesive, but like you could just kind of glue it. So, and you know, the first child, your first piece, it's always kind of a project. So letting that go. All right, so you guys got the gist of it about ironing and such. So I am going to go ahead, move on to that next section. We are going to show you how to stencil. Actually, you know what? We'll do it on this guy, so you can at least see what that stencil would look like. So also, this is a really important thing to think about before you start cutting and sizing everything. I need you to take a look at how big your stencil is. This is going to be kind of a really important thing. Do you want an all over stencil? Do you want to piece it like the Christmas one? And because if it's not big enough and your placemat's already cut and finished, now you have to kind of expand the design or think about something to make it fit the piece or your placemat. So think about what size and think about all that stuff and think about the size of your, and I'll show you why, and I'll show you how I fixed, because I just got the stencil like a couple days ago and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing because I already made the placemat. This one this one was done after I had gotten the stencil, and I made it work and I liked the size. And so I didn't have to adjust or draw anything. But for this one I had made this placemat prior to receiving the stencil. And do you see I have a bigger gap, and I didn't feel comfortable drawing out this entire stencil. So what I did is I went ahead and I put some lace in, and then I hot glued it very thinly through the entire thing to take up some of that space. And I think that looks really pretty. So that's why it worked as far as the width went, but it didn't work as far as how big I wanted my placemat. So when you're picking out your stencil, take a look at the dimensions and how big you need your placemat to be before you get started. And I think that'll save you a little bit. But use some creativity, because you can absolutely fix it or make it work to your advantage. You know, I also could have redesigned another jute. Instead of doing the corners in the back like this, I could have done them to the front. So that way now the placemat is actually encased into the cloth placemat. So if that makes any sense. So here we go. I know you guys know how to do this. I'm going to do the Christmas one on this. Here we go. When you are doing your placemat, think about the colors that are in your dishes, perhaps the colors that are, I don't know, your decor. And then if you're picking a color for your placemat, think about what color inks you want to use, or if you even want to use like a colored ink, or you just want to go with standard black. So center your stencil before you give it a final press. You know, check your dimension on the corners. So we are looking at, this is 1 inch, just over a quarter. And we are looking at, yeah, it's not even. So check. And with these are actually the free stencil like this. This one with a design that's kind of floating, not so much like a perfect picture. You have more ability to change what you want to do. So give it a good press from the center, press out. You're going to need a plate for your lettering. Here is the, no, it's not that paint. That one is a different one. Can't, never could. So this is the black. Now, if you're going to do a custom color, you need to make enough for all of the placemats at once. If you are doing a 6, you need to make enough for 6, not just 1. Because if you're doing custom, you're not going to match that color again. I don't care how many times you try. So make enough for 6. If you use too much, put it in a little pot, label it, custom color, fall, Christmas, whatever, 2024. And then you'll know what color that is if you use it for the next project. So it won't go to waste. So here I'm using a palette knife. You really want to make sure that your paint is completely mixed in. If you do not, you will have different colors coming through your stencil. And it doesn't look all that great. I did the first one like that, and it was like, I did it with the brown and the gold, and there was like big chunks of brown and then really bright gold. So make sure you're really mixed in nice and well. So you see how I actually did like more of a rusty bronze color here, like it just brown and black. I like that. I like a dark black, but it's not true black. especially with a green, because brown and green go really well. So I'm going to clean that off. Now, when you do your stencils, make sure you either have a sink available or a bucket of water. You don't want this stuff to dry into your stencil. It doesn't come out after a while. I've done wallpapers with this stuff, and it's hard to get out once it's dry. If your stencil loses stickiness, a good tip is Lysol wipes or like Clorox wipes. Now you're going to start from the top and you're going to bring it down. These stencils are amazing. There's really virtually no bleed. And when used in conjunction with Amy's squeegee, not like this chunky, junky thing, there really is no bleed because the need to go back over and over and over, like I have to do right now, is not necessary with her stencil. So I endorse that thing. And I'm always skeptical of like endorsing products, but her squeegee is amazing. Like that was actually the first time I used it was on these placemats. I wish I had them for when I did the wallpapers jobs. So make sure that you are using her squeegee. I just really think it's amazing. And at first I was like, what is this round side about? That doesn't even make any sense. And then I realized it was a spread and then the other side was a scrape. It like naturally happened in my hand. It was so cool. All right. Ooh, we're running out of time. Okay. So I'm just doing a portion of this stencil so you could see this thing is just trash. Don't use that. But here we pull it back. Look how pretty that is. Nice, really clean. Again, use the right squeegee. You're going to have a much better response here. I'm going to stick this in water. And I'm going to have to redo this one. But just so you can have the feel of what you're doing with the squeegee, with the stencil. And with this one, I went back over with the gold with a artist brush and highlighted Christmas. So you can see I highlighted Christmas. I added a little magic into the trees. Now here's an idea that I actually thought of before coming on air. How pretty would these be with some glazed over and some pigment powder gone over it, right? Just a little bit. And then doing like a wax or to seal that all in, or I mean, and because I've done wallpapers like that, these would look stunning as a placemat too. So here's your placemat. If you're gonna wash these and we're gonna use them again, you're gonna have to seal it with an iron. So set the paint in. So go ahead and set that paint in with a warm iron, and then you are good to go. You're gonna set this all the paint in it. So everything will be ready to go. And then if you want to do your backing, you can put your backing. Remember, this is the pre-cut, and all we had to do was bring in that seam with the heat bond. And so what I did with this one is I did a panel of that ultra heat bond, and I put it onto there. You'll square it up with, you're going to square it up with your placemat, like so. And now, once you feel like it is a good, I think that looks so cute. And now you'll take your iron and you're just going to gently go over and set, and this will be setting the paint and go ahead and bonding to the jute. If you feel like it's not going to hold very well, you can go ahead and use that hot glue. Again, when you use the hot glue, this is a tight weave, so you're going to not have a big of a mess if you're using an open weave. And so again, a little patience when it comes to the ironing. It takes a few minutes, but this is an open weave. Can you guys see how open that is? Yeah. And then here, oh, I have bad setup today. Sorry, guys. Here is what those seams will look like on an open weave. I went a little bit wider. This came from a giant roll from wallpaper I was doing, and I gave myself a lot of allowance as far as that seam goes. So I cut it to 18 and then I gave myself 4 inches so I could really, because I knew as it starts to fold, it wants to fray. A little quick tip, take a lighter to it. It will fray and kind of seal these. So just don't hold it too long. You'll light yourself on fire. And then you can hot glue in this little seam and then you can roll it over. But so if that helps you guys, that's a lot. I'm sorry. Thank you for watching. For those who've stayed, mwah, I adore you. But I hope to see you soon. I have some really fun stuff we're going to do next time. Some redo Christmas ornaments, paint a little more back into my scene. And I'm so thankful and I appreciate all your time. Thanks, guys. Take care.